Hey, welcome back to the LeBauer Show. Today, I've got an amazing guest from halfway around the world, Paul Wright. He's an Australian physio. He's a former health business owner who's been in trenches just like you. He's previously owned 6 clinics and running them from his home office and visiting each clinic for a few hours a week. So Paul is super awesome at the whole managing remote and setting things up and helping others. And he's helped others do the same. And he's authored an Amazon bestseller, How to Run a 1-Minute Practice, and founder of Practiceology, which is a health business freedom program that's helped thousands of allied health business owners around the globe, 57 countries, and to earn more, work less, and enjoy their lives. Paul is a good friend. We've missed each other because we live in different countries, but we've been on each other's programs a few times. He recently did a program to demystify AI and ChatGPT. And so today we're going to chat a little bit about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and all these other things that physios and health professionals can use to run your business. And we'll give you some great resources at the end to get some more. So Paul, welcome back to the show. Thanks again for having me on your 7-minute podcast. Was it 7-minute Practiceology podcast? Is that the title of it?
7 questions in 7 minutes.
Yep.
Mate, you do well, mate, that your audience listen to you for longer than 7 minutes. So I've found the 7-minute sweet spot. So our podcast is 7 questions in 7 minutes.
Nice.
Just gives them a quick snippet. But mate, you've been on every program I've done the last 10 years. I've had you on it. So you've been. I think from memory we did the recruitment program. We did cancellation reduction.
Mm-hmm.
We did all these different. And I just keep hitting up Aaron. Mate, can you be a guest for me? Yeah, sure.
Of
So
course,
I thought it's only fair that I return the favor and do something
Right.
on your podcast. So, mate,
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it and you being here. And then I was also going to say, it's not like we're on the Huberman podcast recording for 4 hours. We got some work to do and we got other lives to live. So,
Correct.
so here's what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys the best we can in the time that we have. And so Paul, just give us a brief rundown of what are you doing right now with AI? What's the kind of current opportunity, and what are they missing out, or why should even people be paying attention to the rest of this show?
Okay. Well, firstly, my if this helps, I've got 4 daughters. I think youngest one's 27. They're traumatized that I am doing anything with AI because I'm not a techie, Aaron. I laugh with they say, Dad, what are you doing? I say, I'm talking about AI. I said, Dad, but you can't use your phone. Why can you possibly be doing this? And I think, and they're right, I'm not a techie. But what I am, and there's a lesson for everyone here at the moment, I'm a follower of the market. So, and I think I mentioned in one of our original podcasts, and one of the mistakes we make as business owners is we fall in love with our product. So we fall in love with physical therapy or physio or chiro. We fall in love with that, which is a mistake because what we've got to fall in love with is what the market wants, the market. And we fall in love with look, there's enough people needing migraine care, then you create a migraine program. So my antennas are always up for opportunity. So here I am. I'm doing my business mentoring program, and I've got other things happening from in business wise. But I noticed November 2022 when this kind of started, and I think you remember it. ChatGPT became free.
Yep.
So ChatGPT launched, and it became a free program. And I shared on some of my presentations. It took them, I think, 5 days to get 1 million users on ChatGPT. And that was when you might have heard the media buzz started. People talk about ChatGPT and other things. So my radar went up and I thought, oh, AI. I knew nothing about AI up until then. So I couldn't use Siri, maybe if we think about what was around before that, we were going into Netflix and Netflix was recommending shows for us based on what we watched. There was AI components around our GPS. So there are AI things around, but we didn't think it was a big deal. But then when ChatGPT launched the free version, November 22, and it went ballistic, I thought, I'm going to look at this. And I got more and more interested in it. And where was the opportunity for me? Members of our group, our private group, were saying, well, what is this thing? How do we use it? So I started getting interested in learning it for that because I thought there was an opportunity to teach health professionals how to use AI because no one was doing
Right.
it. So
Right.
I joined 4 mastermind groups. So for the last 18 months, I've been, it's not plagiarizing. I don't like the word plagiarizing, but I've been in these different AI groups, and sometimes they get really techie, Aaron. They'll talk
Mm-hmm.
tech, and that's not me. But what I do, I'll listen to what they say and I'll think, how can that apply to us as practice owners? And then I'll take that back and play with it. Can we use that? How can we use that?
Right.
Whilst I don't know anything about tech, I know a lot about health businesses. So I marry those two things up, and that's as a result. So originally I did a 3 hour demystify AI and chat GPT presentation that expanded into a 5 week AI boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wrapped up an 8 level AI black belt program for practice owners and their teams to learn how to use AI better.
Yeah.
And
And
if there's one thing, sorry, Aaron.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, like, the one thing that a lot of people do is they see AI or they see something tech, and you said I'm not techie. I think they freeze up and they go, "Oh, I can't possibly learn that." I mean, you're
Yeah.
older than me, clearly.
Just, hey, hang on, not by much.
No,
Gee,
I know.
lucky we're on audio. Gee, I'm telling you,
I'm
I
just
didn't
joking.
come in this to be offended, Aaron.
I know, but I mean, you're at least 35 years old.
Oh, at
I'm
least.
51, and
Uh,
I'm not super tech, but people like, how do you started to allude to it, but how do you get past that? This is a brand new tech. I'm not familiar with it. I don't even want to look at it because clearly this is important. How do you get past that, and how do you recommend people even not turn off this show because they think we're going to go too deep into some tech stuff?
well, we all, if you think about it, Aaron, if you think about historically, I put a slide up in some of my presentations. I'm a surf ski paddler, so I paddle surf
Hmm.
skis in the ocean. Like that's kind of what I do, surf lifesaving sort of stuff in Australia. And when I first started surf lifesaving, paddling the surf ski, bottom of my ski was white and the top was green. And I'd go out paddling. My wife would be on the beach and she'd say, I can't really see you. I can only ever see a white ski. I can't see the green one. That's because it's always upside down. So
Hmm.
I was hopeless. But you get better at it. And if we cast our mind back, Aaron, to when we started using email or using our phones, those are old enough that can do this. And even look at your practice management software system, your EMRs. Like we had no idea, but you just start using them. And I think one thing I've learned from my kids, Dad, you just get in and play with it. And and the other thing with AI tools, Aaron, most of the ones they're based on, because it's most of them are large language models. They're based on words, so you don't have to be a programmer. You just have to press a few buttons, and
Hmm.
most of them are very simple once you start doing it. Um,
Yeah.
and the other thing, what once you start seeing, and the other thing I found, mate, is once you start seeing some outcome, some some time saving output from it. Say, and hopefully you've all thought about doing this, but just you go into Chat GPT, for example, and you're trying to do your weekly email or your blog post or something, you just put in, give me a blog post about 300 word blog post about knee pain, and it'll do it for you. So and you don't have to be a rocket science to do that. You'll get you'll get a basic template, and you can just copy that, paste it, and just edit it. And you've what used to take you half an hour now took you 5 minutes.
Hmm.
So straight away, and once you start seeing that, you'll get more and more engaged in opportunities, and then you'll start. I talk now to our clients about flexing their AI muscles.
Right.
They and they'll just gradually get more comfortable with it. And like I did a lecture last night. I think I was telling you before we went live. The lecture, and I'll give you guys the link to it, is 10 AI tools, 10 time-saving AI tools that all health professionals must know. And I actually ended up being 30 of them. But the point here, Aaron, and I mentioned it in the presentation, it's not about the tool. Because there's a site called Future Tools. I know Matt Wolf creates this site called Future Tools, and they're putting this he reckons there's 200 new AI tools per day
Wow.
coming out, and
Hmm.
and all that does, and when you see that, that leads to overwhelm, and people think I can't keep up. But the biggest lesson I can share with you guys from and what I've learned with AI so far, and I shared a lot in the presentation last night, is don't focus on the tool, because that'll overwhelm you because there's too many of them. Go back a step, and in your business, think about the problems. So let's say example I just gave, where if your problem is, God, every 2 days I've got to write a blog post, and that's something you have to create, and that's taking me too long. So that's a problem. So you'll think to yourself, well, is there an AI tool or a tool that can solve that problem for me? Well, ChatGPT will do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can even now, Aaron, go into ChatGPT. This is how it works. I'd heard somewhere that there is now a scheduling feature inside ChatGPT. Now,
Wow.
and I was, okay, what does that mean? It means I can schedule, if something should happen regularly, I can schedule it to do it for me. So let's say go back to this practice owner. Let's say they have to do, they want to do 3 blog posts a week, for example, just to keep their website current. And so I didn't know how to do this. So I went into ChatGPT and I said, I asked ChatGPT, how do I schedule a task so you can do it?
Mm-hmm.
And it replied with straight away, what do you want to schedule? Just tell me and I'll do it. Pretty much. So there's no heavy tech involved. And it said just okay. I said okay. And my one was, or let's say for this practice owner, you say I need to write 3 400-word blog posts per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Can you please send me content for this at 9 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? And you base it on topics that my audience of active people who want to
Mm-hmm.
stay out of pain might enjoy. Your audience, what
Right.
do they want?
Right.
And it'll say, okay. And then at 9 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, you get an email from ChatGPT. Your updated content has arrived. You just go to ChatGPT and you copy and paste it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So
Wow. It's
I
like
did one.
it's so simple. It's really overcomplicated. It's like all we gotta do is make it super simple and tell it what we want it to do, and it'll
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy.
And so even for you, and this is what I did. So the task I wanted to put in, because I'm a business mentor like you,
Mm-hmm.
I said to it, let's schedule the task I want. Can you at 9 a.m. every morning? Can you send me an update of what's happened in the world of allied health business ownership? So physio, chiro, osteopodiatry in Australia, UK, US, Canada. And it's go, okay. So at 9 o'clock every morning, I get an email that summarizes what's happened with Medicare, with the different countries, what's happened overnight. And I just have a scan
Wow.
through that. Okay, that's interesting. So instead of me reading the paper or searching it, it just reminds me. But but where I started this angle, Aaron, I didn't go there looking for a prompting tool. I went there because I had a problem that I was trying to solve. So the problem the practice owner was solving is it's taken me too much time to think about what to write in my blogs or other
Mm-hmm.
things. So go always start with the problem, Aaron. And if you start with the problem, there's an AI solution. Definitely. I did this last night in the presentation. I asked in the chat, I said, what problems have you currently got? I said, write down your business, your problems. And they talked about they've got no time for social media. They said their recruitment sucks. They're taking too long doing clinical notes. So all the things that if I asked your audience the same thing, you get the same list of things. And every one of them that they said, there is currently an AI tool or a solution that will save them time.
Mm-hmm.
And why wouldn't you use that if you had it? A lot of them said last night. I mean, how big are you guys in note recording software, like recording audio consults?
Hmm.
How's that in the US at the moment? Pretty big?
I'm sure some people are doing it, but the way that, I do it, I can type pretty quickly and I just type stuff out and it's super simple and straight up soap notes. So I don't do much of that, but I think some people are using it, I'm sure.
Well, let
You
me
know?
throw this at you. Let me
Mm-hmm.
let me then think. Okay, so in your case, but here's the other thing I'm finding with these tools. It's not just the notes. What do you get? What can you do with those notes? So from those notes that you've got now in an AI tool, so that's and you'll know it. The AI based note taking software, they'll produce the doctor's letters, the reports, the insurance reports. Now, I know your guys are cash based,
Yeah.
but even a report to their personal trainer, or to just a written report to someone who's interested in or knows a bit about that person, or their football coach, or like if you can expand your marketing reach because you've already got that, and it's easy to create from a tool like Heidi, or my patient notes we use a lot. So, but you think about the other thing. You think if you are doing more insurance work, or other, even medico-legal, Aaron, we've had clients
Hmm.
that they're worried their team members aren't writing good enough notes. They're worried about the quality of their notes. This is even
Right.
for private cash patients. And you guys know in the States, like you'll get a letter from a law firm, I'm representing this person, give me their medical notes or whatever. And some of our clients were worried that their team weren't doing the notes well enough, so that was opening them up, the owners up, for litigation, because they're responsible ultimately for their team
Hmm.
members' performance. So they'll use note-taking software to solve the problem of I'm at risk legally because my team aren't writing great notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
time
interesting.
saving it.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that and I was like, all right, it has to be HIPAA compliant here, at least in the US. And then so
Yeah.
I just asked ChatGPT. I was like, is there an AI tool that does insurance benefits checks and claim submissions? And it's like, yes, there's several of them. There's one,
Of course
two,
there is.
three, four, five. There's at least five of them.
Yep.
I'm just like, oh, duh, like super simple.
So the other thing, so what you're doing, you're thinking, look at your week. And I get
Yeah.
all our clients to do this. Look at your week. You've told that with your clients. What are you spending your week doing?
Hmm.
What's in your list? And my goal in my personal business, Aaron, for years was to have nothing in my diary. So
Yeah.
my definition of success was having to be nowhere at any time. Was Now, if you're still seeing patients in your practice, that's a certain time that at the moment only you can do
Hmm.
until you outsource to someone else. But and they're things you can't at the moment get rid of. But all the other things, if you're writing notes, if you're doing the doctor's letter, if you're doing a report, if you're doing your emails, if you're doing your marketing, you got to think, mate, is that good use of my time?
Right.
And is there a tool? And it might not. Here's another thing about AI. We put a graph up in our presentations, and we talk about the practice efficiency matrix. And this matrix, Aaron, it's if you look at your week, the top line of this matrix is all the what we call deliverables.
Hmm.
So at the end of the week, what have you got to deliver? So like you've got to deliver the patient care, you've got to deliver you do the payroll, you've got to do the marketing, you've got to interview that new applicant. You've got all these, your deliverables are at the top. What we try and do, the mindset we try and put into our people with AI is to move things from you down a level.
Right.
Now the first level down might be just your personal assistant, your admin manager, that's the next level down, which removes it from you and puts it onto them. The next level down, and the level under that is your virtual assistant. So for 5 to 7 US an hour, you can find a good VA in the Philippines or somewhere that will
Hmm.
do a lot of these things for you. So if you're sitting there creating a graphic or doing like I've got a VA in the Philippines, 20 hours a week, and he won't mind me saying this. I'm sure sometimes he sits there doing nothing,
Right.
but I don't care. He's there. And if I just did it before you went on today, I had to send him the recording of last night's presentation to edit it and get back to me. So I'll email it to him. And as far as I'm concerned, that's off my desk.
Hmm.
And he'll then look after it. So that for me is worth it for me to, instead of me mucking around, I can just, if something comes to me, mate, can you do this? So the
Right.
VA is next. And under that again is AI,
Hmm.
because some of these things can be done automatically.
Right. It's a arbitrage for time. It's
It
like,
is.
yeah.
And but then think about it, if you go a step further, think about, let's say, your personal assistant and your virtual assistant. If you empower them with AI tools, straight away their productivity goes up massively. They're getting all sorts of things done that they
Hmm.
weren't even maybe doing before, just because what was their problem? I having trouble doing this. I had to create this. There's a tool for that. Get them AI savvy,
Hmm.
and as a result, your whole business matrix improves.
Yeah.
And that, Aaron, is what the whole idea why I did the AI black belt is is because it's as much for your admin and your therapists as it is for the practice owner. It's about what we're trying to instill is a mindset of better, faster, cheaper.
Right.
And can I do this? Is there a better way? And what it does, it opens their minds to the potential of AI
Yeah.
because they'll get overwhelmed with the tools. But once they start seeing, oh, that could save me some time. That could save me some time. That's easier. That's an easy way to do it. But they're staggered with some of the things it can do.
Right.
So, but it's a mindset shift, and I've continually. I don't think it. What I am noticing, mate, over my last 12, 18 months in this space, whilst the tools are getting better and better all the time, and they are, the fundamentals aren't changing, which means go back to the problem you've got, look at your practice efficiency matrix, and that's still the fundamental. So it's the mindset, there might be a better way. Is there a tool? If there is, yes. And the
Hmm.
tool will get better and better over time.
Yeah. I
That's,
think, yeah, that's awesome. And I think that like when it comes to like team and other people, I think people, I have this feeling like sometimes people are like, oh, it's going to replace me. But all I want it to do is make you more efficient,
yeah,
right? Like you can do more. Now you can do more for me. Now, great. Now you're even more valuable. And,
yeah.
I think that is the mindset that we have to, really get around is it makes us more valuable, because we're
The
more
AI, the
efficient.
AI guys, the AI masterminds that I'm in, and when you do these different programs, they'll say you're not going to be replaced by AI, but you might be replaced by a person using AI.
Hmm.
And it's true. And actually there was a report, Aaron, LinkedIn got together with Microsoft mid last year, and they did a report. It was AI at work.
Yeah.
Now here comes the hard part. That was the title of their report. And they got into the whole research that they looked at 31,000 companies, and I don't know how they do this, but they looked at Microsoft search points, like people searching things. So they got all this research about AI use in the workplace now. And some of the results, I've got a couple here in front of me. They said that 75% of global workers are currently using AI at work. So, and
Wow.
I'm sorry, of knowledge workers. So global
Hmm.
knowledge workers and health professionals, we're knowledge workers. So 75% are using it at the moment. And it's predicted to be 100% by the middle of this year. And if you look at it, we're already heavily engaged in it. So we're using it. 91% of people said it helps them save time. So they're getting value from it. And they also say it's making them more productive, and they're enjoying their work more because they're
Hmm.
not stuck doing laborious tasks. Now, interestingly enough, for practice owners out there, from the research, and this is a massive, massive study, 66% of leaders said they wouldn't hire someone without AI skills.
Wow.
So they're looking for it. So if you're recruiting, I'd be adding that question: how comfortable are you with AI and using AI? Because 71% of the survey results, people says they would rather hire a less experienced person with AI skills than a more experienced person without it. Now, where does that leave us as recruiters of allied health professionals? We are because of AI, Aaron, we're seeing a reduction in the therapist gap. Now, what I mean by that, we're seeing a reduction in the difference in skill level or perceived skill level between junior and senior therapists.
Mm.
Now, let me give you some context here. Let's say I'm running a biomechanical practice. So I've got lots of biomechanical things coming in. There's a program out of Alberta, Canada, called KinetiSense. KINITESENSE. I think it's KinetiSense. So just Google it and have a look. KinetiSense is if you imagine it's a $1 million biomechanics lab run from your iPad. So what KinetiSense does, and this is where I get a little bit really techie, but one of the things that AI changed when it all exploded was it made some of the tech we had much better quickly. And one thing it did was something like an iPad that's got a LiDAR camera in it. There's a camera called a
Mm-hmm.
LiDAR camera, and the new ones have got LiDAR cameras. The AI tech allows it to send, so it's a single image, but it can pick up a 3D thing because of the way it bounces back the messages, and it can pick up it can do a 3D image from a single camera.
Wow. Yeah.
So what if you get the idea? So what KinetiSense has done, they've patented this thing. It's a cool tool. So you put the person in front of your iPad and you get them to do certain movements, and it videos them. And as it does it, mate, watch some of the videos. You'll see a top view of the person. You've got a 3D multiplanar markerless motion capture technology on a couple of year old iPad.
Mm-hmm.
So what that does, stick with me for a second. The 20-year veteran therapist might be able to look at a person and analyze that. The new grad's got no chance because they haven't had the experience. But the new grad can use a tool like KinetiSense with AI powered tech and create a brilliant report on the person's likelihood of ACL, balance and falls, risks, everything from a single scan from their iPad. Now, you can even get the admin person to do that, Aaron. So the admin person could do the scanning and you can just analyze it. So can you see we've reduced the therapist gap?
Right.
The patient is equally impressed with either therapist because they've done a great report. They can find out what they've done, what they've got. But that's a classic example. If my problem in my business is I'm at risk because I've got a couple of senior therapists. If they leave, I'm in trouble because I've got more juniors than seniors. If that's your problem, then you
Mm-hmm.
think, okay, what AI tools are out there that could help narrow that gap? And something like KinetiSense has come along the scene, and versions of it, there's other ones that can straight away narrow that gap. And the other thing it can think, when I heard of KinetiSense, there's another think about the other problems we've got. Let's say we don't have a good lead generation tool for our practice. So we don't have a great way to lead generate in our practice. I saw KinetiSense and I spoke to the guys at KinetiSense, Ryan Comu and his guys. There's a 3-minute test on it, CAMS Active Movement Assessment Program, it's called. So you put an athlete in front of the iPad and it talks them through the 3 or 4 different movements, a squat, an overhead movement, a lunge, touch your toes, whatever it does. And based on that 3-minute analysis, it does a comprehensive report. So they'll take KinetiSense and their iPad to the local soccer club, and they'll scan 200 players in a couple of hours, and they'll get them all a report. They all come into the practice to get the report. They'll find out this person's got risk of ACL problems. This person's got this.
Wow.
Straight away, they've got a lead magnet. There are patients in the practice. And the other thing you've now done, Aaron, you've leveraged AI to create a unique selling proposition in your practice because you're the only person maybe doing that.
Yeah.
And that's the power of tech. And it doesn't take you long to learn Kinetis. It's no different than it took you to learn your computer software system or your smartphone.
Yeah. I heard there's this like the mirror thing. I said some guys talking about this thing. It's like you do like a full like a squat, and then the AI starts to analyze your like movement and make recommendations. And it's like, oh no, is that going to
Yep.
take away the physical therapist? But does it? It doesn't have the same, like being able to ask questions about the problem and where the pain is. But it's just like I'm like I don't really like it because squat's super complicated, and that stuff exists and people love it.
Let me traumatize you even further if I
Mm-hmm.
can. Um, I'm not sure what you guys know about the UK health system. So in the UK, physical therapy or physio, they call it over there, has been under siege for a number of years
Yeah.
because they've moved away from hands-on therapy. A lot of it is exercise-based therapy, and you could argue the problem they've got in the UK is the physios are no different than glorified personal
Right.
trainers, which has become a problem. But it was largely driven, Aaron, by lack of staffing of the National Health Service. So people would go and see a physio under the National Health Service, and they would they wouldn't have time to treat them hands-on. They'd give them some exercise, see you in a month.
Mm-hmm.
That led to the problem. So so as a result of that, there's a company that came out in the UK called Flock.health. If
Okay.
you want to be traumatized, go to Flock, FLOK dot health. Now, Flock is an autonomous physio clinic. So it's a physio clinic, Aaron, doesn't have any people in it. It's robot-based physio practice. So
Mm-hmm.
so the GP, the doctor says you've got and it's only for lower back problems at the moment. You've got lower back problems. You need to go to Flock Health because they can't send you to the NHS too long to get in. And if they do, they'll just show you some exercises. So rather than doing that, so they write your referral to Flock. You go and you book in, and because it's a robot based, 24/7, 365. You can just, I want to see a therapist now, and you'll go into Flock as a patient. You'll log in, and the robot will do your assessment. It'll it'll take your history. It'll then ask you to do some movements. It'll talk about the pain, and it'll then create an exercise program for you based on its algorithm. And it'll check in on you all the time. It'll make sure you're doing okay. You can organise a chat to a live person, but I don't know how often that happens.
Right.
So there are physios available, but I don't know how often that happens. And interesting enough, when I looked into this more closely, Flock has got dual recognition in the UK. What I mean by that, it's recognised and licensed as a medical device. So it's a tool, it's a device like an assessment or an ultrasound machine. It's a device, but it's also registered as a provider. So it's a person as well as a machine or
So part of me goes,
get
in
it.
the US, are you getting reimbursed for that person without the employment costs? I'm like, that's crazy. They couldn't do, that'd be weird. But we're,
Now we think, well, that's high tech. Now here this will throw even further. There's a guy, an orthopedic surgeon, head of IT development and trauma at one of your US universities,
mm-hmm.
Christian Pean, I think his name is. A friend of mine sent me a Loom video of Christian. Go to, if you want to find it, go to his LinkedIn profile, scroll down to some of his posts, and you'll see he posted a video of him as the patient in an autonomous practice, and he'd created his own little tool, and it was, and the video's there, and it says, "Hi, I'm Kimmy, your virtual therapist. Can you tell me about the pain?" And Christian's saying, "It's down my leg, it's going here." And he says, "Can you stand back from the camera? Can you show me where it is?" And it showed Kimmy, the robot. Can you do some movements for me? And the scary thing is, Aaron, from my understanding, Christian created that program. I think there's a thing called Google AI Studio.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tool that in Google and Christian created this robot out from on his own using Google AI Studio. It's not a multi-million-dollar company creating this. He's just an orthopedic surgeon mucking around with something in the background and then created his own little assessment tool. So now when Flock came out, I showed my VIPs, and a lot of them are hands-on therapists in our group. And I said, "Does that worry you guys? Anyone concerned about this?" And none of them are worried, Aaron, because they're doing more hands-on therapy. And they also, that's great for people who live remotely or can't get into a hands-on therapist, but it's not going to affect my business.
Right.
But it's coming. So I don't think you can't put your head in the sand about this. Kinetosensors here, blocks here, robots are here. You just got to accept that's the way of the world, and you've got to get on the bus. And I think,
Yeah.
like him or not, uh, Elon Musk, who was one of the original founders of OpenAI, believe it or not, which is the business behind ChatGPT, he said, if you're not using it, you're fighting it.
Mm-hmm.
And
What
this is it. You can't fight it. Don't fight this. Just get
yeah.
into it.
Yep. What we got a few more minutes, I think. Do you use Google Workspace?
I'm a Google. I'm on Google
Yeah.
Workspace, but I don't use. I'm using mostly Chat GPT,
Yeah.
but Google Workspace, they're putting out, like, I haven't used Gemini.
Yeah. Because I
Are you
noticed
using
it's
Gemini?
like so like when I log in on my phone, now
Mm.
there's like a little next to the search bar at the top on email, there's a little button for Gemini. And I haven't
Yeah,
really played around with it much, but I was just wondering if, Gemini is another AI like
yeah.
ChatGPT, but it's integrated within Google. And I don't know if you've played with anything like that or, um,
Okay. Well, it's
yeah.
driven me crazy at the moment because I like you. I saw that little star thing come up, and because I've been mostly using Chat GPT
Hmm.
because when it started, I got more into Chat GPT, and it's interesting to watch the politics and the business behind all this. So
Right.
Microsoft's heavily invested. Google is panicking because people now go to Chat GPT and search rather than Google. Uh, you,
Hmm.
you get a better result searching in Chat GPT for how to do something because it gives you the answer to it. Doesn't send you to pages to find the answer. It'll just give you the answer. Um, so there's all this politics happening. But so Google have bought out Gemini. Um, Microsoft have got Copilot, and Microsoft's heavily involved in OpenAI and Chat GPT. So they're all in there. There's a
Hmm.
program called Claude. There's
Yep.
the other thing, mate. The other thing to be aware of. These AI tools aren't new. I'm not sure if you've heard of a program called Jasper.
Hmm.
Um, Jasper was it was a chat. It was a paid version of Chat GPT before GPT free was available, and it was mostly for marketers. So you could
Yep.
go in, you'd have a Jasper account, and it would do for marketers. It would create your emails, it would do your web pages, your blog posts using AI in the background. But it was a paid program, and not many people knew about it. Who who did know about it were marketing companies. So some of the big ad agencies and marketing companies, they were heavily into Jasper and other tools like that because they were charging clients thousands of $1,000 a month to create all this material, but they were just getting it out of Jasper.
Hmm.
So but regardless of what tool you use, that's again not the issue. There's lots of tools out there, and they're going to fight for market share. ChatGPT is still the gorilla in the room, and but if you're worried about security, if and I don't suggest you put really detailed things into it. The other thing I'd suggest to do if when you're in your ChatGPT, go to settings. I think it's data control, and you've got to turn off. It'll say something like you use your information to help train the model.
Hmm.
Just make sure that's turned off,
Mm.
because then when you load things, supposedly, Aaron, it's not shared with everyone. It's just for you.
Right. Right.
But if you really so you don't put personal patient info in it. Um, but that being said, the other thing you wouldn't even think about. I was analysing my my Facebook ads the other day. I know
Hmm.
you're big on this, so and I've got a whole page on my ads manager of the Facebook ad results for the last couple of years. I just did a screenshot of that, put it into, and I copied that screenshot into ChatGPT, and I said, analyze these campaigns for what works and what doesn't. Like a complex screen of data, Aaron, and it came out and just gave me, this is the best campaign because this is why it's the best campaign. I'd be doing more of this from a single screenshot in about 4 seconds. So, but I had to be comfortable, I suppose, putting my Facebook ad results on there. I didn't care,
Right.
but I wouldn't put detailed patient data in there, and
Yeah.
but if you're worried about security, then you pay for a program like Jasper or the higher levels of Gemini or Copilot in Microsoft.
Hmm. Yeah, I know
If you're
you can
doing,
use like the model. They can take the model and put it in some places will be able to do it in a private server, or maybe you got to do, like there's different ways to do that, different servers. So you're using
yeah,
the model or the program on a private server with your own data, and that's probably more of like what you could use if you wanted to need to analyze your patient data, or you export only certain amounts and not their names and
yeah.
contact details and
Well,
stuff
as I
like
said, Jasper's one of those. So Jasper's
that.
a private, but it's still using a platform like ChatGPT or something in the background to run it.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's like it's a separate storage. It's using the mechanism behind it to do it. So
Right.
that's, you look at security, but a lot of the companies are using the higher level corporate packages of ChatGPT and Copilot and everything else, and Claude, etc., for that reason, for security
Hmm.
reasons.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's just don't my I think my whole angle for this, and even for today, Aaron, and I did it last night.
Mm-hmm.
Don't focus on the tools or even AI.
Yep.
Focus first on the problem you've got and list them from top to bottom. What's the problem? And then find a solution if there is one. And invariably there will be,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a program. If you want some fun though, that being said, I did at the start of last night's presentation. There's a program called Suno, suno.com. I don't know if you played with Suno.
Right.
Suno is a music generation AI tool. So you go into Suno and it'll write a song for you. So I did it last night. I copied, write a song about a lecture titled 10 AI Tools All Health Professionals Must Know with health business mentor Paul Wright. And I said, use a soft rock style. And I copied that text into Suno, and mate, 5 seconds later, it comes up with a song that was pretty good. And it was, and I wrote one. So I was playing around with it. I wrote one for my new son, my new grandson. I wrote him a song. I did one for Valentine's Day for Helen.
Yeah.
And it just, but once I came across Suno, I spent 2 hours having fun with it. So 2 hours was gone by the time I knew it, which is what happens. My desperate problem wasn't I need a song for my practice, but it ended up being a tool. But I wrote a song. My nephew's got a physio practice in St. Leonard's in Sydney. So I wrote a song. I said, create a song for Get Active Physiotherapy in St. Leonard's. And they help people stay pain-free. And he's not a country music guy, but I said, use a country music theme. And it created this very cool country music jingo. But you'll think, well, there's no use in that. Well, you pay a lot of money to get a song written for your practice. You can get a jingle for your practice. A lot of people can start using audio in your marketing if you want to.
Right.
Anyway,
That's
but that's
awesome.
that's a tool. Anyway,
Yeah,
there's tools.
that's very
Aaron.
cool. What Paul, there's a ton. That's a ton of stuff. I think it sounds like if there's one thing to do, just go sign up for ChatGPT and play with it, and then figure out what your problem is. If someone wants to learn more about you or get some details or what you have a training or something that they can get on AI, where do they go to get it, or how would they get that?
Mate, go to this presentation I did last night. If I can just give you the link for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you go, it's 10 time-saving AI tools all health professionals must know. It was a paid event, but if you guys can get it for free. If you go to pages.mypracticeology.com/TENTOOLS, 10 tools. So pages.mypracticeology.com/10 tools, and use the code. I got a code LeBauer,
Okay.
LEBAUER. So use the code LeBauer, and you'll get that access for free. And it was a 2 hour deep dive into kind of what we talked about today, but lots of screen sharing, and I showed how we did it, and I showed you how to create a song, and I even did a case study of how I helped a local sports doctor do his website and everything else in about an hour or so. So check that out, pages.mypracticeology.com/10 tools. Use the code LeBauer and see what you think.
Awesome. And then if you're listening to this or watching it, I'll put the link in the show notes. And if you can't find it, DM me on Instagram, but I'll put it in the show notes, and so you can go get that. Hey, Paul, thanks so much for.
And I'm sorry, and I'm a LinkedIn guy. So if you want to find me,
LinkedIn.
just reach out on LinkedIn. That's my platform, LinkedIn. Find me, Paul Wright, Newcastle, Australia. LinkedIn's my platform.
Perfect.
I can't use Instagram, can't use Facebook, but I know LinkedIn.
I was on LinkedIn a long time ago, and it was like one of the first people in my state to be on there when I was living in California. And then, it just got a lot of spammy stuff in the US and, at least. So that's really awesome. Hey, Paul, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate
Pleasure,
it.
mate.
Paul, the physio professor. So I'll put the link below. Make sure you guys go check it out. Thanks for listening to the show. We'll see you on the next episode. Go find out all you can about the AI and just figure out how to make your life easier, not harder. All right. See you guys soon. Peace.